Hollywood. I'm joining the Kojima World Order as of right now. An hour for a fight. Kojima.
An hour for a fight. An hour for a fight.
Everything that Kojima has made is godlike. Yes, Kojima. Hail him.
Hello everybody and welcome to Young Hero Rants, the show in which I rant about whatever aspect of the world is annoying me lately. I am your host, ThatKidDouglas, aka the Young Hero, and tonight I present to you the long-awaited sequel to my rant on DSPGaming titled DSPGaming Bugged Victim Mechanics. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, I announced the sequel to this in December, to the DSP rant that I did in August. And I've wanted to do a sequel to DSP for a long time now. Because there's honestly so much to talk about with Phil. I mean, he literally has years upon years upon years worth of material to make fun of, that doing a sequel, to me at least, just made a lot of sense. And I know sequels have a tendency to be inferior to the original, but in my humble opinion, I truly believe that this sequel is even better than the original. Yeah. And while there are many examples of Phil being a professional victim, there are so long that it will literally take hours to go through it. So I'm going to condense it into 4 main points, the ones that I find the most interesting. So without any further ado, let's get started. It's time for a roasting. So the first one that I want to talk about tonight, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know this, but I feel it's important to talk about anyway, was back in 2013, he did a live stream on Twitch of Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 Remix. And his girlfriend, Liana, aka Pandali, to put it bluntly, trashed the series, saying that Kingdom Hearts was boring and that she wanted all the fanboys to cry so she could moisturize her body in their sadness and rage. Needless to say, it didn't turn out too well for her. I mean, because going into a stream chat to bash a game series that you don't like just to garner attention towards yourself is generally not a good idea, but she did it anyway, and the fans went after her, and rightfully so. I mean, you know, they were just simply defending a series that they love. Now granted, I've never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, but I understand why a lot of people enjoy them. And they weren't attacking her, they weren't sending her death threats, they were just defending a series that they like. So what does Phil do? Instead of reprimanding his girlfriend and apologizing for the stream chat getting derailed, guess what he does? He goes on a massive tirade and insults all of his viewers by calling them quote-unquote immature little shits for basically, you know, quote-unquote arguing with his girlfriend, and put the chat into sub-only mode so nobody could talk, which I found to be incredibly insulting because, I mean, really, they weren't doing anything wrong. They were just simply defending Kingdom Hearts after she trashed it. You know, shouldn't, and they should have a right to defend themselves, but apparently not. You know, I mean, again, she totally released his girlfriend and played the victim card and tried to make her look like a victim, even though she wasn't, and everybody else knew that she wasn't a victim because she instigated the fight in the first place. But he punished all of his viewers and then insulted them. You know, and this just goes to, this just proves that Phil treats his fans like absolute garbage. And considering the fact that somebody like myself that has 100 subscribers, I treat my fans really well. You know, because I recognize without your fans, without people that watch your videos, you wouldn't get anywhere on YouTube. So the fact that a guy that has far more subscribers than me, he has over 160,000 subscribers, yet doesn't know the factors of good PR, and, you know, treating your fans with some sort of respect, to me, is not only absolutely appalling, but quite frankly pretty disgusting in my eyes. No. But that's all I gotta say on that particular topic, because, I mean, that's already been done to death 1,000 times. It's what made Phil pretty infamous. It's one of those more infamous videos, so to speak. And after watching that video, the fact that there are people still supporting him just saddens me. It really does. But anyways, moving on. The second example that I want to talk about tonight is of course his racist tirade, which I covered in my rant. This is my first rant on him, called DSPGaming and sensitivity just don't mix. I'll leave an annotation in the description above so you can watch it. It's a really good video, and I highly suggest you do. In it, basically, again, he went on a racist tirade, pretending that he was a Nazi and the Necromorphs were Jews and that he was exterminating them. Needless to say, a lot of people got offended. And so, somebody reported him to Blip TV, and Blip TV ultimately banned him. And again, what did Phil do? Instead of, acknowledging his mistake and apologizing for it and saying that he would never do it again, guess what he does? He plays it off like it wasn't his fault, that he was the victim, and that the guy that reported him was jealous of him, and the only reason that he reported him was because he wanted to make Phil stop playing video games for a living and making money off of it, supposedly, and he quote unquote called him a shithead and jealous and all this other stuff. No, Phil, no. The reason why he reported you is because what you said in that video was highly racist and offensive. You can't make jokes, offensive racist jokes about blacks, Asians, and Jews, and then not expect anybody to and then not expect people to not report you. Like, I mean, what was the guy supposed to do? Just let it slide and act as if it was no big deal because it's comedy? No, that's not comedy. That's just you being stupid and racist and offensive. And that has no place on Blip TV. That has no place on YouTube or, quite frankly, anywhere on the internet. So it's no wonder why you got banned. But again, you never want to take any responsibility for your actions. You just want to blame everybody else for your problems because that's the way you deal with it. And the guy's like in his 30s. He's like, what is it, like 31, 32? But the fact that he still acts like a child and never takes any responsibility for his actions is just baffling to me. It really, really is. Seriously, Phil. You really need to just grow up and act your age, personally. I mean, do you realize how horrible the Holocaust really was? Thousands of Jews died. Thousands, and not just Jews, but every colored race died. Yet you want to make jokes about it as if it's no big deal because it's satire. Anyways, moving on. The third the third topic that I want to discuss tonight, of course, is his attacking of Buscas, and I'm pretty sure all of you know about this one. This is back in 2012 when Buscas's ads, I believe it was for a Battlefield game or some other EA game. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it was for EA. And it appeared on one of his videos. And Phil got upset about it, and the video was titled "Get My Competitor's Ads Off My Video" and stuff like that, where he basically bitched about Buscas' ad appearing on his videos. So Buscas took the high road. He was a man about it, and he personally reached out to Phil and, contacted the advertisers and got the ads removed. So you would think this would appease Phil and make him back off, right? Nope, didn't do it. There were several videos where he literally went after Buscas, calling him every name in the book, just insulting him, and Buscas never responded back. That's probably because he has a lot more subscribers than DSP, and he's much more mature than DSP ever will be, I guess. That's probably the reason why. But even despite it all, Buscas was still nice to him and tried to help him, but Phil just threw it back in his face, saying that he wasn't funny, and that he only started a gaming channel to generate views and all this other stuff, even though he doesn't know anything about Buscas, and, maybe he just started the gaming channel because he genuinely enjoys video games. You never know. You can't just make judgments. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't really follow Buscas. I'm not a huge fan of his content particularly, but at the same time, I understand why people like him. Because his personality is really out there, and, it's definitely watchable. I would watch his videos, personally. And while Buscas does suck at games, there's no question about that. The difference between Buscas and DSP is that Buscas at least has fun with it. He's incredibly self-aware of the fact that he sucks at games, and he has fun with that, and he really plays up to that fact. And I think that's what makes it hilarious to a lot of people. Where DSP just sucks at games and just blames everything under the sun, and never likes to improve, never lets take any responsibility for his own failures, which is really why I'm making this video. And there are just several accounts of DSP just attacking Buscas. And let's be honest, the only reason he went after Buscas in the first place was for views, because Buscas is far more popular than DSP ever will be, so he was essentially leeching off of his fame to try to generate more views for his declining channel, because it's sinking faster than the Titanic. And honestly, I could go on and on about that, but there is a video that explains it in far greater detail than I ever could. It's called DSP vs. Buscas, which is uploaded by username Mr. Brock Hines. I'll leave an annotation in the description above so you can watch it. And it's right there. It's magic. Anyways, moving on. The fourth, and of course final point that I want to discuss is treatment of friends. And the Borderlands 2 playthrough. The Air Raid Lord, which is a user that has done several co-op playthroughs with Phil, did a 2-part video, basically detailing all of his troubles with DSP. And in it, he mentions his Borderlands 2 playthrough was called Sir Hammerlock, and something. I can't remember the title at this particular moment. He's basically saying that the views for that playthrough were pathetically low. They were just horrendously bad. They were so bad that Phil actually canceled the playthrough after only a few parts. And that he was so worried about views, instead of actually having a good time with his friends and playing this awesome co-op game, no, he was totally worried about views and money, considering the fact that Machinima had cut his pay. And it's no wonder why Machinima cut his pay, considering the fact that his channel just isn't really all that profitable. And considering that his views and subscriber base have been steadily declining, it's no wonder why Machinima pays him less now, because there's a lot of other users that generate far more revenue than DSP ever does. I mean, trust me, there's a lot of other users on the Machinima network that generate far more views than Phil does on a regular basis, and they mostly treat their fans a lot better than DSP, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, the fact that he's with a major network like Machinima and he can barely even crack 1,000 views is just pathetic. I mean, it's a really good video, and I'll leave a link in the description down below so you can watch it. It's really great, trust me. Yeah, and it really just goes to show how far Phil is really evolving. That and any time, and Borderlands 2 is just an example, keep on. And any time a game doesn't generate as much views as possible, you know, he'll go on a tirade, you know, complaining to his viewers and guilt-tripping them into not watching his videos. And he doesn't realize, he doesn't realize the single fact that people aren't watching him is because of his horrendous and off-putting personality. That's why people aren't watching his content. Because, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter how old or new a game is. Take a look at the Angry Video Game Nerd, for example, and his Let's Play series, James and Mike Monday, which he does with his best friend Mike Matei. And they cover, like, both, you know, retro games as well as newer school games, and they generate tons of views. And I guess you could argue it's the fact that, you know, James Rolfe is incredibly popular. He's probably the most popular gaming personality on the site. It's also because his personality lends really well to doing a Let's Play series. And you know, along with mine, their personalities are so entertaining. That's what keeps people coming back time and time again, is because people like the personalities, not so much the game itself. It doesn't matter how popular a game is. If the personality isn't good, people aren't going to watch it. That's just common sense, bottom line, you know? And the very fact that he cares more about views and money than actually putting out quality content is honestly just, it's sad. It's really sad. And the production values and just quality have just declined. They've really declined. And you know, he's just guilt tripping people into like donating to him, and you're saying, oh, if you want to support me, if you want me to keep doing this stuff, then please donate to me, da da da. That's actually the reason why he canceled a series called the Hateful Truth Game Reviews, because they weren't generating the mass amounts of views that he wanted. And it contains really good editing, far better than what I can do. So it shows that Phil is competent at editing. But in his regular playthroughs, he doesn't edit this stuff out. You know, so you have to watch him die 15 or 20 times in a row. I mean, and this is just editing 101, and I just use Windows Movie Maker, for example. Anytime there's a part, if there's background noise, or you mess up, or any factor of that, you know, figment, edit it out. Trust me, your audience will thank you for it. But again, he's just so caught up in being a YouTube celebrity that he's forgotten that if you don't make good quality content, then, you know, people aren't gonna watch you. And there's a reason why people aren't watching his videos, because his videos are garbage. They just suck horribly. And he even admitted in his Dark Souls playthrough that he wouldn't have played Dark Souls if he wasn't getting paid for it. But again, he never lets to take any responsibility for his actions and proclaims himself to be the victim, and that his viewers owe him. Phil, your viewers don't owe you jack squat. They don't. People should watch your videos, or watch anybody's videos, out of their own free will, not because you demand them to. How do you think that's going to attract consistent viewership or make people come back to your videos? It's not. It's only going to drive people further away from your channel. And it's frustrating to me that you don't get this. But it doesn't matter what I say, because, you know, he's never going to get it. And honestly, once Machinima finally lets him go, he's done. He's done. And honestly, I don't see him being around too much longer. But that's really all I gotta say, because this is going way over normal time. Will there be more rants on DSP in the future? Probably. Because there's just so much material to talk about with Phil. I could never run out. Honestly, there's just years upon years worth of it that I could tackle. Whether or not DSP will be an ongoing series or saga, you know, it's too early to tell, but I'll keep you posted. Anyways, that's all I gotta say for tonight. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Young Hero, signing out. Deuces. Stay frosty and keep it weird. Cue the random explosion effect.
I'm joining the Kojima World Order as of right now. Bam, 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 bam,